You good?
I'm good. Hang on a minute. Zoom gives you like 5 notifications you're being recorded. Let me clear those.
Have you done a
Okay, I'm
wee?
ready. I've done a wee, but we're
Do you say
slamming beer.
do a wee in America?
No, nobody says that. I gotta take a piss.
What about if you got kids? You don't say take a piss with kids.
You say I have to go pee.
Pee. That's gay.
Yep. America's gay half the time. Haven't you seen all the news?
Oh, mate, you're preaching to the choir. All right, you ready, dog?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. Welcome back to the Brown Snake interview series. This week we have on Caucasian Honga. Welcome, Honga.
Thank you for having me, Brown Snake. Pleasure to be here.
You're most welcome. Now, you're a young guy. What are you, like 25?
29.
That's what I said, 29.
I thought you said 25. This accent's impossible.
I did. I'm just lying.
Lying.
What generation are you? Are you a millennial or below that?
I think I'm technically a millennial. Right at the end of it, I think 96, it goes to Gen Z or whatever.
Yeah, right. Now, is it true that your generation are weak pussies?
No, it's 100% true.
Are you a weak pussy?
Depends on what time of the day it is, but I would describe myself generally not. I don't think I fit the norm of my generation very well.
Well, how did you survive it? How did you break the mold?
I had good parents. You know, dad was the corrections officer and mom was the caring, nurturing one, you know.
Yeah, right.
I think they're all pussies because half the time dad's not in the picture to kick your ass when your ass needs kicked.
And I think, like, did you spend a lot of time inside on those damn computer games growing up?
A fair amount, but at the same time, my dad was a information systems director, so he's always been a big computer guy. I mean, that was his job.
Yeah.
He worked for places like Microsoft in the early days and stuff like that. So I was learning how to program DOS at like 3 years old without realizing what I was doing. So it made me computer savvy, I'll say that. But like after I moved out, no, not at all.
Yeah, so you're like Bill Gates.
Except for all the money.
And the
But you gotta
pedophilia.
remember, we didn't have internet. Even though we had computers, there was no internet until like the early 2000s. So I was outside, you know, crashing my bike into stuff and jumping off ramps and breaking my arm. I don't think they do that anymore.
No, and that's the secret, I think. It's that activity, taking risk, playing with friends thing outside. I think that's
Yeah, and we had a really tight neighborhood of like 30 kids, all the same age, with kind of the same values. We all got together and we played outside. We'd all be at somebody's house like every afternoon, you know, it would rotate around the parents.
Yeah.
And then another big factor, none of us had fucking cell phones. I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 18, and it was a flip phone. I'm really late to the smartphone generation.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I don't even stay tied to it very much, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's weird. My street's got no kids. Like, I've got the kids. I got still at home a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old, and they're the only kids in the street. Where the fuck are all the kids?
I know for a fact in America, at least, people are like, kids are too expensive. I don't want to have kids. Or they, especially women in my generation, they're like, oh, I want to be a career woman. And then they're like 33, like, I'm ready to settle down. And then a guy like me is like, you're too old. I don't want to have kids with you.
No, their ovaries wilt.
You know, our birth rate in America is like 1.8, and to maintain a population, you need 2.1 kids, because some are going to die before they hit adulthood, unfortunately. And the only reason we maintain 2.1 is because of immigrants, actually.
Well, maybe you should, like, get a wife and, like, make a heap of kids, try and buck the trend, get the stats up.
I'm not opposed to that idea, but I will say dating as a millennial is kind of a bitch.
Do you even own a girlfriend?
Nothing serious right now.
Right, so you're dating. And do you use the apps?
I've tried them, but honestly, I have a way higher success rate in person because of my charm.
Really? That doesn't come across at all.
Oh no, I'm fucking hilarious, bro.
What?
Now you
Oh,
probably didn't know that. Why did you invite me on here in the first place? What made you want to interview me?
well, I've never talked to a young person before. You're the youngest person on Twitter I know.
Yet you
Oh,
described me one time as jaded. What did you mean by that?
jaded of the soul.
How do you mean?
Well, you're very cynical for a young guy. You're supposed to still have hope.
I've
You
always
see,
kind of had a sardonic, dry sense of humor.
yeah, you're dead inside.
Not
I get
you.
it.
Yeah.
Well, how do you meet women in the real world? What's your move? Just be funny everywhere you go?
Well, in college, it's real easy because you're just jammed into classrooms with everybody and you can talk to them in person. And yeah, millennials are pussies, like you said. So, like, I think there's plenty of guys that would ask out a girl and be successful, but they're afraid to ask in the first place. And me, I'm willing to go ask 100 people and get 99 no's and get one yes. And that's still a yes, baby.
Oh, you're the scattergun approach.
Not really, but you get the concept. I'm not afraid to ask.
What I'm afraid of mainly with the younger women is they're all fat. Like so many are fat and run to fat. It makes me paranoid. Do you get scared?
It's not just the kids, it's the adults too. And I don't know if they're just seeing it, adults and copying, or yeah, I don't know why, but it's true that everybody's.
But what worries me is you start dating a girl and she just blows out.
Yeah, that would be a concern for me too. And it would probably be a deal breaker, if I mean, I get everybody puts on like 10 pounds or whatever. But if like you start jumping multiple waist sizes on somebody within a couple of years, that's not what I agreed to when we started this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, when I was at school, the skinny girls, they didn't have the titties and, they weren't as popular. But now looking back, like they're the ones that have grown into the beautiful women.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, you're starting from a lower baseline. So even if you do put on a little weight, now you're just kind of still in the normal range. Whereas if you
right,
start there and put on weight, now you're obese.
right. So any sort of thickness to the thighs, run a mile. It's over.
Yeah, just do something. And like one of the things that I think the girls I date long term, I go to the gym and stuff like that. If they latch onto that and they want to come with me, they usually stay in good shape. And then after we break up, they inevitably end up fat. But like they usually have pretty good eating habits and stuff. Like I don't eat a lot of junk for the most part. So it's kind of easy to stay skinny around because I'm not going to keep junk in the house.
Yeah, wait till they have kids though, and then they buy the snacks and they're always tired and hormonal. Then it's over.
So how are they going to do that if I don't give them any allowance?
Oh, genius. Or keep them chained up in the basement.
Now you're talking.
Here we go.
Oh, hang on. I'm getting a text message. It's Demise. Oh, he's just reminded me it's trash night. He's just, I got to take it out tonight before I go to bed.
You two are so
That guy,
cute.
I tell you what,
That's
he's the
beautiful.
greatest guy on Twitter. Out of all the people I'd list on Twitter that are my favorites, Demise is number one.
Really? It's because he's bald?
He chooses to be bald. I don't know why, but think about it this way. Like I met him through Twitter. He's a guy that was living in New Jersey. I'm in Indiana. Huge age gap, but somehow we connect through Twitter with, anonymous profiles and stuff like that, and not our real names. And now we've been all over the country. We've been to Chicago, Las Vegas, Atlantic City, Connecticut, and it's kind of cool. We've exchanged thousands of dollars back and forth between each other, buying tickets for each other and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy how it worked out. I've been very fortunate to meet some good people.
Are you saying he could be grooming you?
Oh, man, I didn't even think about it that way. We
Yeah,
do
open
share
up your
hotel
eyes.
rooms sometimes.
Yeah, dude.
That-
What happens when
young
you're
and
passed
naive.
out?
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm usually black out, and he says he puts me to bed, and then I wake up, and sometimes I figure I just tripped and fell on some glass and ripped my anus or something. But now
Yeah.
that you're talking,
There's nothing more upsetting than unexplained anal bleeding.
Oh, that reminds me, I have an ad read. You worked this out with my manager, right, beforehand when you booked
Right.
me? Honda anal lube. Are you going to let me finish the ad read?
Go.
Have you ever had unexpected bleeding? Do you suffer from UTIs because you use spit like a lazy bum? Try Honda Anal Lube. Use promo code Honda for 20% off your first order. Keep it on you. You never know when it'll be useful. Okay, that was the ad read.
That sounds good. How much is it?
I don't know. I get it for free. I'm endorsed.
Does the lube cause cancer?
More than likely.
I'll take 2 packets.
Would you rather have cancer or anal bleeding?
Like,
I know what I'm picking.
cancer?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Do you worry about?
I think I have anal bleeding right now. I just took a shit. You ever take one where like your pants just fit better afterwards? Like you're like,
No.
wow.
No.
No, I just had one of those. And here's what I think it is. Here's my hypothesis. I was like taking a break from spicy food for like 3 weeks, didn't really eat any of it. Then I ate some of it, and I think my tolerance was down, and now I'm just paying the consequences.
I think it's weird that you store your shit in your buttocks.
I thought it was stored in the balls. Like, I'm not an anatomy professor, but
You could be right. I don't know. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm trying.
The only classes I ever taught in college, I taught chemistry. I don't really know the anatomy part, so don't quote me on any
like chemistry with women?
I had quite a few students. I had over 100 and something. It was proper chemistry like you would take at university.
Did you fuck any?
No, you can't fuck your students. It's a bad thing to do.
You can't get caught fucking your students.
I never opened that box of worms, and I was in a long-term relationship at the time anyway, and I don't cheat.
That's unhealthy.
To not cheat?
We all make mistakes. Jesus Christ, Honger.
I'm pretty firm on that one.
You're young, you're drunk, you see a hot chick, you just forget.
I always dated hot chicks, though, so I never had a problem. The temptation wasn't that much better than what I had.
You can have a hot chick and still see another hot chick and just forget you've already got a hot chick. It's just normal.
No, that's married man perspective, where you've been with the same chick for 20 years. Now I can see where the temptation gets in. But if you've only been dating them for like 2 years, it's not there yet.
I'm the opposite. When I was young and hadn't been dating long, I'm more likely to cheat. Now I never cheat. I haven't cheated in like 30 years.
I don't know. It just seems like opening up a lot more problems than it would be worth to me. You know, I've, of course, been like non-committed and been balancing like 5 plates spinning at once, and that was just stressful.
Yeah, I'm talking a one nighter, not a relationship. Who wants a relationship?
No, none of those relationships, but like you're trying to keep them secret from each other and all this other stuff. I mean, you're not committed to any of them. You're not dating any of them, but like at the same time, you don't want them to find out about each other. So I guess that's the closest I've gotten.
All right, I got to ask you some questions from your fans.
I don't have any, so that should be a short list.
Okay, relationship advisor Becky wants to know, are you worried about what level of slut is acceptable in a woman? Like, so if a woman's been a cam girl, sold panties online, is that a deal breaker?
Absolutely, for me anyway.
What if she just tends to post a lot of thirsty pics?
Do you mean she's like a gym thought? I'm using that word correctly, I hope, because I'm a boomer.
I don't know. Yeah, you know, the chicks that post a lot of pictures trying to look sexy on social media, I worry about their mental state.
She was in the gym all the time and had a nice squat booty, and she posted like clothed pictures to Insta. I don't care. You know, I'm just gonna send it to my friends like, look what I got. But
you can't marry that girl. You can't marry her.
You absolutely can marry a gym girl.
No, it's like, not the gym. It's the addiction to external praised for their sexuality. It's a disaster in the making.
You're saying they're attention whores.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And I'm saying in a marriage, that's not how it works. You know, there's a grind in life. You get busy. They're not going to get the attention from you because you'll be working. You got kids, you're tired, you're busy, and they're going to crave that shit like crack. Then you're fucked.
Well, I'll say I've had 2 long-term relationships with gym girls that used to do that stuff. But I will say once I started dating them, committed, they didn't really post anymore for that time. So maybe that's the ticket. I don't know.
It's a long game, Honger. It's a marathon. You mean you haven't had kids and been with someone for 20 years yet. I'm just worried for you, man.
I know. Me too. Because at this point, like, I'm actually ready to kind of only date seriously. Like, I'm not going to be celibate while I wait for that.
No, this podcast is to find you a wife.
I don't know about Twitter wives. I don't know about that.
What? How old is too old for you for a girlfriend?
Right now? Let's see, I'm 29, so she'd have to be younger than me because I do want to start a family and at least crank out, like 3 kids sound pretty good to me right now. Maybe 4.
Like 5 or 6 kids, right?
Yeah, like 7 or 8 kids. So,
right.
She's got to be young enough because, like, you figure you start dating, there's probably a year of courtship and you get married and then you start cranking out kids. It's not like you can just go bam, 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 1 year, like 2025, 2026, 2027, you have 3 kids. Like there's a lag period in between kids too.
Right.
So, like,
and you're a chemistry expert. How old is a woman when her ovaries start to wilt?
I'd say like at 35, you got to start really watching it, and 40 is probably your tops these days with modern medicine.
So if you want 3 or 4 kids, say an average of 2.5 kids, you'd probably want to date no one older than 25 and maybe 23 because you want to date for 2 years. Yeah. I think 23 should be your target.
But here's what I run into in trying to date that age range, and maybe you can give me some advice.
Right.
These girls, they tend to, a lot of times they're college graduates in some bullshit degree or whatever, and they think they're going to go and make a career, like the have it all problem that you've heard about 10 bazillion times, and conservatives say you can't have it all. It's like you can't be a corporate executive and also have a family and be a good mom and have 5 kids and all this. Because, like, at the point they get to that point in their career, they're like 35 and you're like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. If you start dating a 23-year-old girl, you expect at 25 you're probably going to start cranking out kids. 26,
Yeah.
So a lot of them that I've encountered in just trying to date that bracket, they have no interest in settling down yet. They want to see all the dick. They want all the dick.
And dicks are great.
Well, and I kind of figure, like, once you've seen like 10 dicks, get it out by the time you're 25. Like, go crazy till you're 25. I don't care. But, like, once you're 25 and you've seen 10 dicks, you're kind of seeing them all by that point. One of everything. Right. I don't think you care about this. So what are you doing?
Well, I think you've answered your own question, to be honest.
Yeah, every time I've had a successful long-term relationship that's been like 2 years, I started dating them even younger than that.
But your problem is you're going for these college career girls. Why not avoid the college girl?
Well, I was about to get to that. So the most successful ones have been ones that either A, never went to college, maybe they're farm girls or whatever, they were and I kind of grew up in that. I grew up rural. How do you pronounce that in Australia?
Rural.
That's about the same.
Yeah, pretty close.
Or you catch them, maybe they're in college, but they're like a freshman or a sophomore and they haven't been indoctrinated and met all their stupid feminist friends yet that have swayed them the other way yet. You got to catch them before all that happens. And those have been my most successful ones thus far.
Would you consider importing a Ukrainian bride?
Absolutely. But why does she have to? Why not a Russian?
Good point. Because Russia's paradise and they won't want to leave.
Just got another text from Demise. I'm supposed to tell you you're welcome for cheeseburgers. Hashtag America.
I thought hamburgers came from Hamburg in Germany.
Cheeseburgers.
Well, that's just a derivative of hamburgers.
Yeah, I don't care. Americans take shit and make it better, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, look at Antifa.
Ugh.
Great job, guys. But
they really accomplished a lot and really swayed a lot of people with their cause.
We've got to focus on the women thing. You're getting distracted.
Okay.
What piercings will you not tolerate on a woman? What about the nose thing?
Not into it.
Pierced nipples?
Not into it.
Me neither. Good man. What about tattoos? Where's the line?
Not into them. Ideally, none.
Right. No
and
tattoos.
Once they start doing like those cool, ginormous, colorful things or whatever, it's like, you've lost the plot. Like, it's not some stupid butterfly or some like your dead mom's initials on a rib bone anymore. Like, now it's fucking retarded.
Yeah, good answer. What about short hair on a woman? Is that ever acceptable?
Did she just have cancer?
No.
Not acceptable.
Correct answer.
I like it.
He's lazy and shit.
Like the bottom of the shoulder blade. That's where it should be. Or longer.
Yeah, definitely longer. And it's got to be straight. Curly hair is chaos.
I've never been able to bring myself to even hook up with a curly haired girl ever.
Don't do it. It's madness.
I think they would rope me into something I would regret. They're tricksters.
It just makes me very uncomfortable. But there is a thing, like there is a chick, you know that wet hair look where it's just like tones down the curls and looks really wet? I don't know what it is. The shit they put in.
Called, hang on, I bet I can ask Max G and he'll tell me for sure. I think it's called mousse.
Yeah, that can look sexy, man.
SD or something.
That wet hair look, I'm a bit of a weakness for that.
I could take it or leave it. It doesn't sway my needle one way or the other.
Well, speaking of Max G, I've got some Max G questions for you because I know you look up to Max as a fashion icon.
I don't think I've ever said that.
Well, it's inferred. But do you wear cologne?
Yes.
What brand?
I've got several of them.
Multi-colognes?
Depends on my mood. And like some are like better for winter and some are better for summer.
All right, you got a hot day. What would be your go-to cologne?
I've been into Lacoste Essential lately. Right. Now everybody's going to take it. It's citrusy. You want citrusy stuff in the spring.
I fucking love citrus, man. The only soap I use is lemon-scented soap.
I use unscented soap. Why do people have to smell like fucking 12 things? Like, you have laundry detergent, you have dryer sheets, you have laundry softener, then you use a soap, and then people shampoo their hair for some reason, and then their conditioner has a smell, then they put on cologne, and their deodorant has a smell, and they have minty toothbrush paste. Why do you have to smell like 12 things? It overwhelms. I have a pretty sensitive schnoz, so it overwhelms.
Obviously. Well, I didn't know there was unscented soap. I've never heard of it.
I use Dove Sensitive Skin, and I only use that one because it's unscented.
Hang on a second. Sensitive skin. Have you got some sort of weakness and allergy?
No, I don't have any allergies.
All right, that's a tick for the ladies. How many pairs of shoes do you own?
No comment.
A lot. You're not a sneaker guy, are you?
No, I've got a lot of shoes.
Why?
Because I actually take care of them and they last forever. So like I only wear like 3 pairs of stuff depending on what outfit I've got on.
That's pretty much all you need, Honga.
My shoes my feet haven't changed size. So I've got all these shoes that are still in really good condition. Like I'm not going to throw them out. So I've got a lot of shoes technically.
I don't like it. Would you wear the Crocs?
From high school? No, fuck no. Crocs are literally worse than flip-flops.
Don't come at flip-flops, dude. That's a cultural thing.
How do you run? How do you kick somebody to defend your children? Your children are under attack, Snake, and you need to kick somebody to keep them away. How are you going to do it with flip-flops on?
Flip-flops? Why do you have to kick? Why don't you just punch them?
You never know what you're going to have to do in a street fight.
You can just flip them off. That's the whole point. I'd rather be barefoot when shit goes down anyway.
No, I'd rather have steel toes on.
It's a cultural thing. Look,
on a work day.
I will not have any complaints about Australia or our culture because it's superior, and you don't understand it. It's not your fault.
So, hang on a second. Is this another demise text coming in? Fuck, my car insurance is due. I got to pay my car insurance.
Jesus, you two are like lovers.
I do love that guy.
Do you wear jewelry?
Just a watch.
Gay.
I just use it as an accent piece. I think it can wrap together an outfit pretty well.
Oh my God! Listen to yourself. An accent piece.
Collar, so it does make you look more professional too.
Who cares? Who are you trying to impress?
People that want to pay me more money.
You're like the bitches with the makeup. They go, oh, this will trick them. You're like, this watch will trick people. It's trickery.
Money.
Fucking trickery, and I don't like it. Do you mow your own lawn?
Yes, I do mow it. That's the only thing I do to it.
That's enough. Do you own your own home?
Yes.
29, that's pretty good. How old were you when you bought it?
I bought it in 2013. So what is that? 9 years ago? I bought it young.
At 20? That's crazy.
I've been working since I was 14, and we're kind of a Scottish, super cheap family upbringing, even though we always had money. So I always just kept my money.
Yeah, that's good. I respect that. I think it's important. I had my first house paid off at 29. You can't muck around.
And like I drive a I'm willing to make sacrifices. I drive a shitty car that I bought for $3,000 cash in 2013. Actually, the same year I got the house.
Well, you've seen my car, haven't you?
Mine's it's only like 5% better than yours, but it gets me from A to B. I don't care. I don't care if people go, oh, that guy drives a shitty car. He must be a piece of shit. I don't care.
What happened to your professionalism thing with the watch? You go, your watch matters, your car doesn't matter. I mean, it's chaos.
Well, I never said I spent a lot of money on the watch. It just looks like I spent a lot of money, right?
You just said it makes you look professional.
No, it's kind of like putting on shoes and not tying them. It wraps everything together.
Rope wraps people together.
Oh, we're going to go into that section now?
No, sir. Before we leave the Max G zone, Max G was very critical of your band and your music. Do you have a response?
Well, I know he never heard any of it. And that also wasn't a picture of my band I posted. I was just doing a guest spot for that. So I actually want to redirect the question because I have a question for you regarding Max G.
Go on.
You've heard his Twitter 6 theory, correct?
Yes.
So no girl on Twitter can be above a...
That's what he alleges, yeah.
Yet, and I haven't seen, but some of you guys apparently have seen his wife via Twitter, correct? Because you don't know him in real life. He didn't show you on his phone or you saw her. So that means you saw his wife through the medium of Twitter. So doesn't that by definition mean that the most she can be is a 6 in his own vocabulary?
No, because she doesn't have a Twitter account.
Yeah, but you saw a picture of her on Twitter. Is that the same thing?
I could post a picture of, like, I don't know, some hot celebrity on Twitter. That doesn't mean she's a Twitter chick.
Okay, but like if Angelina Jolie has a Twitter account.
Angelina Jolie is old and gross.
I've always had a soft spot for her.
When she was young, sure.
I think I was in 4th grade when I had my first crush on her.
Let it go, Honga. You got to move on, brother.
So you're saying, it's just in my opinion, I think that's just false. I think there are above sixes on Twitter.
No,
Now,
I
if
think you're
he's
missing the
saying,
point of his argument. His argument is that the women on Twitter that are personally posting pics that are looking for attention from guys must be not high caliber. And I think there's an element of truth to that argument.
do you mean like OnlyFans sluts? Maybe I
No,
misunderstood him.
any woman.
Any woman. So
So what I'm
I don't know
saying
what I
is
do with that.
there's women on Twitter who don't post pics and don't look for that validation from others on their appearance, right? There's plenty of women on Twitter like that. So he's not talking about that.
Okay, I think I've rethought this.
Go on.
Max G doesn't just look at girls physically, because when I do 1 to 10, I'm not taking into account personality or their hobbies or what they do or anything. It's just purely physical. I think that's how 1 to 10 should be.
I agree.
Now, if you take into account you're an attention-seeking whore and you're trying to find a dude and get a sugar daddy and all this, yeah, you're probably a 6 tops. When I'm doing it, it's just purely, I try to remove everything else and be objective.
Yeah.
So maybe that's our difference in opinion there.
I just think you're missing the point completely. I think you might be an idiot.
I'm not denying that.
Now, you live in Indiana, right?
That's correct.
Is that like famous because Dave Letterman came from Indiana?
He did, from actually my home, Muncie, Indiana.
Really? Are
He
you a
lives
Letterman guy, or you're not a Jay Leno guy, are you?
I'm not an any late night guy, but literally the house that David Letterman grew up in literally is across the street from my grandma's house today. It's since been sold to somebody else, but the house he grew up in is literally across the street from my grandma.
That's crazy. Because he's got that dry humor. You got a dry humor.
I think that's a lot of the Midwest, because I mean we're farmers for the most part.
Well, what'd you fucking farm growing up? I think it's bullshit. What'd you farm?
I did not personally farm shit.
That's right. So don't claim farmer status, mate.
That's my upbringing, though. Because, I mean, the rest of my family farmed, and so it's the same sense of humor that rubs off on you.
My family never rubbed off on me. That's creepy.
I don't know. It's also, this is where all the auto industry is. Like, you've heard of the Muncie transmission that went in Corvettes and stuff like that.
No.
So, General Motors, the biggest auto company besides maybe Ford in America, they've had all their plants here. You know, I've had like 5 family members retire from General Motors. So it's a blue collar auto industry. You know, Detroit's not that far from here. And so there's a lot of that. And then when that died off, because they exported all the industry to Canada and Mexico and even China, you know, they don't make anything in America anymore, even General Motors, Chevrolet stuff. So a lot of these people got left without jobs and hard up on times, and they kind of developed a cynical sense of humor.
I didn't know that was a big car area.
Huge car area.
Well, there you go. Do you think if they made an American-made car, and it cost
what? Toyota these days.
What if it cost 30% extra and it was a badass American car? Do you think people would support it and buy it?
Yeah, if it held up. The biggest problem now is what in my industry we call designed obsolescence. They don't want your car to last forever. Like if I knew I could buy a brand new car for $60,000, but it would last me 20 years, I'd do it. That's not how they're designed anymore. They're made out of plastic parts and shit. They're designed to break within 5 years unless you're mechanically apt, and even then it's still hard to work on modern cars. So
well, these days it's all the computers. You got circuitry that won't last with the vibration and the heat.
Oh yeah, I've worked on Mercedes that had like over 260 computer modules in them. That's retarded.
I'm terrified of getting a new car. I don't know what to do when this car shits itself.
Get a Toyota.
I don't like cars that bip. My car
No.
makes no beeping. I've got manual windows, so if I drive in a river, I can get out. I like it, you know. I don't wear a seatbelt, nothing bips. No one cares.
Yeah, I drive a 2002. That's old school.
Yuppie, I'm a 1999.
It's easy to work on. Parts are cheap, and I do all my work myself. So I mean, I like it for that reason, and it gets me from A to B without any troubles. I've never had to tow it in my life. I've never had to tow any car in my life.
No, my car doesn't break down. Anyway,
That's why you keep them.
I'll worry about these sort of things about the future, and getting a new car's a big concern to me. I'll just find something old, I guess.
Or like I said, a Toyota, which that's the most American car you can buy. They have a plant in Nashville, Tennessee, where they're assembled primarily here in America for the ones that get sold here. They build them more than our own American quote unquote car brands. They actually assemble them here.
If I'm like, when I got my wife her car, it's made in Japan. I think they've just got the best cars if it's made in
They
Japan.
do. They're fantastic cars, unless it's like a Suzuki.
No, it's a Mazda.
No, Mazdas are Fords, actually, for the most part. A lot of them have Ford engines and a Mazda body.
I checked. It was made in the Hiroshima prefecture, it says.
That's awesome. That'd probably be a good car. The Japanese build better cars. They have different quality standards. They have really tight tolerances. We're boring the audience with car talk. Let's go to something else.
How did a young guy like you get into being a Compound Media fan?
So let me think. It was 2016, and I was just starting to listen to podcasts. So, of course, Joe Rogan is like the guy and still is, but at that time he was already the guy. And I started flipping through, and I used to skip most of them because I didn't care who the guest was, and stumbled across Gavin McInnes. And his sense of humor is very similar to mine. I've actually met him. And it's hyperbolic and dry and sardonic, but he's also telling you little facts in it. And even Joe Rogan, a comedian, couldn't tell if Gavin was joking or not, and I got off on that. I love that type of humor. Where he's like, no, you can't think that, Gavin. Gavin's like, yeah, 100%, I think that. And I had to so I Googled, where can I find more Gavin? He had a show at Compound Media called the Gavin McInnes Show.
There you go.
And signed up there, and then through that, because I never listened to O&A. Nobody in the Midwest except for truck drivers has Sirius XM or any of that. And they ask you if you want it for an option when you buy a new car. Do you want 6 months? No, I don't want anything. We're poor. So through that, I found Anthony, and then Gavin left, but I stuck because I also discovered In Hot Water there, and Kevin Brennan had a show, Burning Bridges, there, and I just was like, I like all these guys. We have pretty like-minded politics and senses of humor. Like, I like all these guys, and just started following them. You know, that's the end of that.
And now you rusted on.
And now I'm still here, baby.
So of the Compound Media shows, do you watch them all?
No.
What?
There's not enough time.
What's your show you don't miss?
In Hot Water, I don't miss. Like, I won't watch them live usually, but I'll catch them whenever I can, or get caught up if I get a minute, if I get behind. And
Is
I
In
try to
Hot
watch
Water better or worse without Aaron?
It's neither. It's better in some ways and worse in other ways. Like, it's better in that Gino is back to his raw form, which in the early In Hot Water days, Gino used to be a ranting, he'd be drunk, ranting off and going off on tangents. And he literally used to write him, and it'd be on the teleprompter. He'd write him on his way in on the subway. And I love Ranty Gino. That's who he is. I think Aaron kind of calmed him down and got him to quit for a little bit. That's back now, so I love that. But a lot of the little bits, especially when they're playing guests, and one of the fun things to do is watch a guest not understand the concept of the show and try to figure it out. And you can see the gears turning as fast as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up. It's fun to watch them figure it out. And you kind of lose a little bit of that. So, like, In Hot Water is still as good as it was. It's just better in some ways and worse in other ways. But we'll see what happens. It's still brand new for just Gino to be soloing it.
That Anthony Cumia episode with Gino and Kevin Brennan was brilliant. That was beautiful.
It was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, me too. Do they still do the gay porn on the In Hot Water?
Not since Aaron left, which kind of tells me a few things that I didn't originally think.
He's had gay experiences, hasn't he?
More than me.
You know those bald guys, they love
it. Well, and he used to be a male stripper, so
yeah,
I can't say that's on my resume.
Do you watch Morning with Bill Schultz?
That show doesn't exist anymore. I think you mean Fact Talk, which also I've seen 0 episodes of that too.
What about The Wet Spot? Do you like the whores on The Wet Spot?
No, I tried a couple episodes, but I don't. So some of my least favorite guests are usually the porn stars.
I agree. I hate them.
Sometimes, but they're usually dullards.
Yeah. And, you know, you get some chubby porn star that's not even that hot.
Or
and they're
like
annoying.
They're 50 or some shit.
Yeah, they're pretty annoying. I'd rather someone who's witty any day of the week.
And to be honest, like I'm not a big porn guy, but like half the time the names I've never heard before. So I'm like, are you really that big of a porn star if nobody's heard of you?
Everyone's a porn star now.
The internet sucks sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our Compound Media. You're confident Compound Media is going to thrive in the future when Anthony moves?
I don't think it'll get any better. I don't think it'll get any worse.
But won't Anthony have to Zoom most of his stuff once he's in the Carolina thing?
They've been Zooming their guests for 2 years now. I don't really see how it's going to. Everybody's going that way, unfortunately, because I prefer in-studio guests. I'm not going to lie. It's way better. There's no stupid Zoom lag like we're having right now, where we talk over each other on accident.
It's a problem.
So I don't like it, but I think that's the way it's going, and we're going to have to learn to live with it more than likely. But I don't think they're going to really lose any subs. I also don't think they're really going to gain any subs. It'll probably just be the same people that have been there since the beginning.
All right, getting off Compound Media, what podcasts do you listen to that aren't Compound shows?
Well, I followed Gavin over to his own thing, censored.tv. I like Gavin's show. Don't see every episode, but, you know, he's always fun. Of course, Misery Loves Company. I like Kevin Brennan. And after I met him at Mead's house, I like him even more. Like, what a cool guy. And he's the same guy in person. It's just kind of turned down to 8. And when he goes on the podcast, he turns it up to 11. It's the same guy, though. And I like that. Those are kind of the two ones that I regularly catch. There's not a whole lot else. I mean, between Compound, MLC, and Gavin, that's a lot of hours of podcasts. And I listen to them at double speed like Becky does half the time, or I'll have other stuff.
Another one? Another weirdo?
There's only so many hours in a day, man.
Yeah, just watch less.
I do want to see all the people, though. I could watch less and watch them at regular speed, but I can keep up when they're going twice the speed, so why not?
I just like to miss nearly everything. I listen to a few, and then if I miss it, I miss it. You know, if you get sick, you can catch up or something, or you're stuck.
Yeah, I'm not religious about it. I don't have to tune in right when they're live or whatever. Like, if I get home at night or whatever, I can throw it on then when I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, fine. if there's a bit of Twitter buzz, you might push through it, but a lot of the episodes you can miss, and it doesn't really matter.
I think I'm also kind of a podcast Twitter at heart, where I'll get 10 minutes into a podcast and go, I don't like the guest, I'm out. And that's it.
A lot of guests are boring.
Yeah. Or you just don't like them. I mean, Porn Stars is probably at the top of that list. Ian Hirschenfeld is a con. I'm not a big fan of Natalie Cuomo.
Because of her saggy tits?
It's not helping her.
Well,
No,
do you like
I don't
like
like it because there's a lot of. Go ahead.
guests like I'll think of Misery Loves Company. We both are fans of that, but like Tom Cassidy, are you a fan?
I'm neutral on him. I haven't watched enough of his stuff to really have an opinion.
All right, Barry Ribs.
Pass.
Yeah, I'm pass. It's not fun.
Like he was on the episode with three guys we were just talking about earlier, and I was like, dude, shut up. These guys are making gold and interrupting.
I know. I wanted a sniper to take him
It was
out.
like for a fucking hour. It was like an hour.
Yeah, I wanted the headshot. Bam, done. Move on.
Just has a stroke right there.
Yeah, fuck him. All right,
I would hope it'd be super animated, clutching his heart.
I also listen to Matt and Shane. Do you ever listen to them guys?
No, but I am a big Shane fan. I actually, through the magic of Twitter, linked up with him here in Indianapolis, and we went partying here in Indianapolis. A friend and I went with Shane Gillis and the guys he brought along, and we were going to strip clubs and everything. It was a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome.
Was right after he got. It was right after he got fired from SNL, and his second set he did after he got fired was in Indianapolis or something like that. And I went and saw him. He killed, of course. And then we were partying with him afterwards, bar hopping, and then went to strip clubs. And before we know it, it's like 4 a.m. home, and we've been hanging out with Shane Gillis in a small group the whole time. I loved it.
Yeah, I listen to Matt and Shane, and I listen to Tim Dillon. Do you listen to Tim Dillon ever?
Just recently, probably in the last 6 months, started getting into Tim Dillon.
I think he's really good.
He is really good. He's got good takes, too.
He's just funny.
He's funny, and he's got that same dry, hyperbolic thing that I go for.
Exactly. And you don't have to fuck him.
He'll try to fuck me, though.
How many people is too many people on a podcast?
I'd say about 4 is your top before it starts just getting reckless.
I agree.
Maybe even 3.
I think 2 or 3 is the sweet spot. 4, it's got to be a well-run ship.
Yeah, you have to have a host that can control your guests, which is another wet spot complaint I had, because she'd have 9 guests on, which is fine. They might all be fine guests or whatever, but they're all talking over each other, and it's a 50-minute podcast. It's like, who's in control? Who's the captain of this ship? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Now, you've also been very critical of podcasts, that there's too many podcasts, that you've got the do-it-yourself podcast like mine, which you're on the record of saying is shit. I don't
recall, but I probably did.
Well, some of it was inferred, but do you think there should be less podcasts?
But no, there is for anybody with an iPhone can now have a stupid podcast. And now you go onto your favorite podcast app where you'll find the Brown Snake interview series, and you'll find probably 400,000 podcasts, and there's probably 100 good ones or whatever. How are you supposed to sort through all that shit?
Twitter recommendations?
I mean, that's kind of what I do, but now it's work. It's it used to be there were 100 options, and you kind of just found the category this person's talking about finance, this is a comedy, this is a political. There weren't very many options, so you just kind of picked what you had to go.
Dude, I'm 500 years old, and I don't have a problem. It's easy peasy.
Not everybody needs a fucking podcast. That's my only point.
Are you a fan of the Ski Mask podcast?
I like the guys, but sometimes that podcast is a wreck.
Too long?
Actually, most of the time. Well, I tried to tune into a few episodes recently, and it was an hour-long podcast. They did 35 minutes of shitty merch plug.
Yeah, that reminds me of the In Hot Water problem, where they think it's a great bit and they flog it to death.
But that
Like,
one's actually intentional. I think there's a difference where like, and that was an Aaron thing too, where they would just take a bit and then drive it into the ground to the point where it's like it's not funny, but they keep doing it and then somehow it becomes funny again. But like
yeah.
it kind of takes skill to land that. Otherwise, it's just annoying.
I think that's what they're trying to do on Ski Mask with the merch. They're trying to be, oh, look how ridiculous we are, but eh, it's
They're
not that
still
good.
young. I mean, D-Mask is actually younger than I am.
Yeah, it's amazing. Young people on Twitter, and it's crazy.
I thought that's mostly what we're on Twitter.
Yeah, we are. Well, that's the show, is getting behind the real Twitter person. But I got to keep this moving because we're going to run out of time. So you have a cat, right?
I do.
You're a cat
Maine
guy.
Coon,
What's its name?
Oliver.
Is it a boy?
It's a male cat. Yeah.
Have you had it desexed?
Yeah. He's been neutered.
No, you're a prick. Why would you do that?
He was neutered before I ever got him. Long story, I'll make it as short as I can, is that in a long-term relationship, a girl was living here with me. Her friend had to travel somewhere for like 6 weeks on some foreign exchange thing, and she had like an itty-bitty 6-week-old kitten or whatever. We were just going to cat sit it. We were never supposed to keep it, but then we found out this chick was like abusing the cat, and we're like, well, you can't go back because, I mean, animal abuse isn't cool. And then we broke up, whatever, and I still got him. That's kind of how I ended up with him. I never went out and was like, I'm going to get me a cat.
The thing is with cats, when you've got them inside, the cat litter stinks. Always stinks.
Why did you not clean it every, like, once a week or something? If you
I
do it
don't have
every
pets.
day, it doesn't stink.
I don't have pets inside. I don't believe in pets inside, so they never stink. But friends of mine who have pets inside, like cats, their fucking house always stinks of cat piss.
That means they don't clean the fucking box.
I don't know,
Do
man.
it once a day, not a problem. Cats spend like they spend like 70% of their waking time bathing themselves. So, I mean, they don't stink. Whereas I can walk into a house where they have a dog and I smell wet dog right away. Maybe I'm just adjusted to it or whatever, but
Yeah, if I walk in your house, I guarantee I'll start complaining.
Probably not, because I also keep it in a bathroom that's unused. So he's got his own little fucking room that's way off to his own.
Well, just keep the window open, try and get some fresh air in for me.
I've had the windows open for like a week now. It's been in like the 75 to 80s and degrees Frankenstein. I know you guys use degrees science there, but it's been pretty pleasant.
I'm freezing. I'm so cold. It's 57 here at the moment in your Fahrenheit. It's so cold.
Yeah. Like
Now,
how cold is cold to you?
According to the Brown Snake research team, 96% of all Americans are degenerate drug addicts. Now, do you do the gummies like so many of your countrymen?
I don't do gummies.
No gummies. What about the cocaine?
Tried them before. Again, I've tried it before, but no.
And you said off air you refuse to keep hard liquor in your house. Is that because you don't trust yourself?
No, I said that off air because you said do a shot, and I said I don't have any hard liquor in my house. Like,
Oh, that's
I
not a
can't
rule.
do a shot. It's not a rule. I just don't
Okay.
have any right now.
All right. I'm just checking, all right? I've got to be thorough. Should Ashley from LA be allowed to own fish?
I don't know. She's had some troubles lately, hasn't she? And
She
she's
seems
batshit.
irresponsible.
I don't know if she should have any pets at all, to be honest with you.
I agree. She's banned from pets.
However, I got to give her some kudos. You know, she said, hey, I'm feeling fat. And I gave her a couple little things. And she's been checking in with me every day, trying to be less fat. So I got to give her some credit there.
Yeah, when she's a size 2, let me know.
Not even a size 4. Pretty strict on that.
You got to be. Especially when they haven't had kids. Do you ever think about moving south to chase better weather?
Sometimes, yeah. But I don't feel a huge urgency to do so because Indiana is not that bad. Last I checked, we're ranked number 2 in the country for most free state. Number 1 is New Hampshire. Number 2 is Indiana. Last I checked, it's not a bad state to live in if you can deal with the seasons. And we do have seasons. It'll be 100 degrees and 100% humidity in the summer, and it'll be cold as fuck in the winter.
Shut that bird up!
Yeah, fucking woodpecker too.
Motherfucker! I hate him. I want him dead.
This is what I get for living on the water. But I mean, I'm surprised you haven't heard the Canadian geese. Like, these fucking illegal immigrants. I swear to God, if I was allowed to fucking just start shooting them,
I thought it was a free state.
Residential rules. Your HOA says you can't just start shooting when people live close.
Can't you put a silencer on?
That's not how they work. Silencers don't make it that much quieter.
Oh, come on, man. You're going to ruin every movie.
No, you can actually apply for permits, but the best thing to do is actually have a dog, actually, which is not suitable for my lifestyle because I travel a lot. I need some pet that doesn't need walked twice a day and can take care of itself. But if you could have a dog, that scares them off. Maybe you could put up like a pin-up sign of a dog picture or something that would scare them off because I don't think they're that intelligent.
Right.
They're just super aggressive.
You should invent a virus.
Maybe I could give them monkeypox and then we'll have Canadian geese pox.
I'm pro Canadian geese pox.
No, now, fuck yeah. There's 5 million of them.
Yeah, I've never seen one. If you could move south to chase better weather, right, would you temporarily, till you got your bearings, live with Christina or Sark?
Oh, fuck. I didn't know you were going to ask such difficult questions on this podcast.
I know. It's hard hitting.
I live with Sark. He seems like he's a little bit better off financially. He's probably got a spare room. I'll keep out of his hair. He can do his gay stuff in his room. And
I think he's that guy. I think he's a guy who just leave you alone and, do his own thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Christina would never shut up.
I wouldn't have to worry about Sark, stealing my food out of the fridge. I think there would be boundaries that are unspoken. Like, Sark isn't going to steal the shit I bought at the grocery store unless I tell him, hey, it's cool if you eat this. But Christina, you can't trust that.
No, you're right. Or perhaps you should go all the way and move to Australia.
I've always wanted to visit Australia, but you guys got pretty gay there during COVID.
Don't believe everything you read on the internet. I could find you a bogan wife.
The best way to describe Indiana culture is we're the bogans of America, probably.
You'd probably fit in just fine.
Similar. Yeah, and that's my favorite Australian culture. What type of Australian comedians do you like? Because I actually prefer Australian comedy over British or any of the other ones. I like Alex Williamson down there.
I don't even know who that is.
I think he's based out of Perth, but he's a bogan comedy guy. He's very funny, and I like him.
I like Dave Hughes. Have you heard of Dave Hughes?
Heard the name, but I can't think of any of it.
He's just that really dry Australian smartass. So I like him. Check him out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think part of the reason too is the language barrier. I don't care what Australian accent you get, I can understand pretty much all of them. But you go to Britain, there's 19 different British accents. I can understand 2. Otherwise, I need real life subtitles, or I'm not going to understand anything they say.
Yeah, and they're only going to want to talk about Harry Potter all the time.
Yeah, you ever watch Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels or Snatch?
It's annoying.
Jason Statham.
That
I can't understand
rhyming slang. It's too much. It's overdone. Fuck Guy Ritchie. He's a fucking idiot. I'm glad he fucked Madonna. I'm glad he married Madonna, and I'm glad it ruined his life. Anyway, that's just how I feel. All right. Is
Well, we're
Mexican
supposed to be
food dog
honest
shit?
here. Not if you're drunk. It's good junk food.
But if you're sober,
It's not going to be my go-to. I'll take a cheeseburger over Mexican food any day of the week.
yeah, me too. And fuck off with the beans. I hate the beans.
It's not. That's not even the worst one. It's the fucking, what do they call it? Refried rice. What? I don't even know what that is, but it's disgusting. Or
I've never
dirty
heard of it.
rice.
I've never heard
Just
of
in
it.
the name, dirty. It's like brown rice with fucking. They just make it spicy because they know it's inedible otherwise.
Yeah.
Make you shit your brains out. Nah. But the closest to Mexican I'll get is like Taco Bell.
I've never been to
I
one.
said them on purpose to piss people off.
No, there's no Mexican restaurant in my area. None. Just how I like it.
What about Asian restaurants? You said you had a pretty big Asian culture in Australia.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm in a very small town. I think my town's got 20,000 people, but with surrounding villages, it's probably 40,000. But we've got 3 Thai restaurants, 2 Indian restaurants, and a couple of Italian restaurants, and then just steakhouses and stuff. But obviously, you got about 4 or 5 Chinese restaurants as well. So it's very Asian, which is a better food.
Indian is kind of a melting pot of cuisine too. Like I don't think there's anything original that comes out of Indiana, but you can find a little bit of everything here because it's a very affordable place to live. So, like immigrants who actually want to, try to move here and start a restaurant, it's not a bad place to do it.
Yeah, because it's cheap.
Compared to like New York or California, hell yeah, it is.
All right. So on Twitter, out of Evil Sam or Brian Bolte, who has the worst food?
Oh, Jesus Christ. These are hard hitting.
Yeah, I'm a journalist.
Well, I know for a fact that at least 50% of the food on Evil Sam's plate is probably made from human remains that he's keeping under his crawl space. Probably the latest edition became the bacon or whatever.
Doesn't mean it's bad.
I don't know. I've never tasted it. Have you ever tasted human flesh? I haven't.
I haven't, but I was reading about these cannibals in New Guinea, in the highlands of New Guinea, and they were saying it's like pork. It's salty, human flesh. I like pork.
All right, then I'm gonna have to go with Evil Sam then because Brian Bolt's food. Is it Bolt or Bolty? I say Bolt. I don't know what the correct pronunciation is.
I'm going to go Bolte,
like
and I got no idea. But yeah, his
puts,
food's pretty bad. It's the keto, but he has sugar in fruit, so I don't know how that works. But that AIDS diet, fuck off, California.
California is what we refer to it as.
Did they invent vegans?
Probably. And as far as I'm concerned, they can just break off from mainland USA and go hang out with Hawaii. I'm fucking cool with that.
Well, they used to be Mexico. Just give them back to Mexico.
The southern part did, yeah.
Yeah, well, they love unchecked immigration. Just like, yeah, here, have it all.
Yeah, I don't know how Becky lives there. Yeah, I think you know how she watches like shitty TV shows and stuff too?
Yeah,
double speed. There must be like, she's Catholic, so it might be a self-flagellation thing. I'm punishing myself by watching shitty TV and living in a shitty state. That's the only thing I can think of.
It's got to be it. All right, your favorite accounts on Twitter?
Well, I already said Demise is my number one.
Right, Demise.
What a good guy. Most of the other guests on your interview series, I quite like, except for Max G.
Hating on Max
Ashley's
G.
kind of been fun. I can't say. You said I've censored myself. I can't say some stuff. Ashley is kind of batshit and a lot of fun, though.
Right, Ashley.
Are you familiar with Rocky P on there?
No.
So he's another compound follower and similar story to Demise, where met him through Twitter, and we're going to all these comedians at the compound shows, and I up from the Philly airport and drove me all the way to Atlantic City, and just another good guy that's on Twitter. Like it is remarkable how I started my Twitter as a joke, hence Caucasian Honda. I thought that I caught him funny, and the whole purpose was just to go meet up with the first In Hot Water live show in Chicago back in 2019 or something like that. And I just wanted to be able to contact Aaron and hang out with him before the show. That was the only reason I ever made a Twitter, and here I still have it all this time later, even though
Now
I've
you're
been banned
addicted.
like 4 times.
Well, is
It's
there
a bad
anyone?
habit because I noticed when I'm killing time, I'm scrolling. Like I do it really fast. I don't read everything.
Yeah, me
So I
too. I'm
noticed
super
I kill
fast.
time that way. I kill time, and it's probably not healthy.
I just find, I think I'm mildly ADD, but if I'm watching the football, having a coffee, doing anything, taking a shit, I need something else. So I got to keep my brain ticking over. So Twitter's handy for that.
I've always kind of been that way. Like there's always, if I'm working at a computer, there's a podcast in the background. If I'm listening to a podcast, the TV's probably also on. Or if I'm watching TV, I'm probably on Twitter scrolling. I don't know. I'm probably ADD too.
Well, whatever. We are what we are. Is there anyone on Twitter you hate? Like in the Twitter comedian following community, is there anyone that just annoys the shit out of you? Or you?
Not really. I don't really have Twitter.
Name names.
I don't have any though, because like like you said, I'm jaded. I don't block anybody.
Good.
Well, I have blocked like ad accounts. We get those promoted ads of bullshit you don't want to see anymore. I blocked those just so I don't have to see them anymore.
I just scroll past it. I just don't see it.
I block those. It reduces the number of ads. And then like there are some people every once in a while, and I know I shouldn't. I'll go on like some post that our President Biden's people made for him, and I'll say something, and then they'll engage me or whatever, and I'll get into a little Twitter battle, and then all of a sudden they'll start scrolling my entire timeline because mine's public, thing, and then they'll start reporting. They'll go report on this one, report on it. They'll do like 6 in a row of shit that I can get in trouble for. I'll block those guys so I don't have to let them be able to scroll my timeline trying to get me canceled because those people are gay. That's about it. Nobody's blocked.
Good man. Now, finally, our final question, which I ask everyone. You're a big Rickosaurus fan, right?
I wouldn't call myself a fan, but
you told me you love him.
Yeah, I definitely never said that.
Well, you appreciated his honesty and his weirdness?
I do. That's true. I appreciate his honesty and his weirdness, and like he was fun and had a good sense of humor. You can't take that away from him. A little bit creepy. You also gotta go with that too.
Well, the allegation is, Honga, that you were the last person to see him alive.
I've heard this before, and it might be true.
Did you kill Rickosaurus?
If I did, I couldn't say it on this super popular podcast, could I?
What'd you do together when you met?
So he wanted to meet at a truck stop pretty close to me. He kind of went out of his way to hang out. Met him there, and he gave me like a tour of the truck. I saw the shit bucket. It's a real thing. He's not joking. And gave me a rundown. And then he's horrible about backing up a semi. I can do it better than he can. Because I just drove some of them at a previous job just around the lot and stuff. I'm better at backing up semis than him.
So did you get a meal together?
We did. So I drove him right down the street to a local barbecue place, and we had barbecue together, and we're hanging out. Seemed like a pretty regular dude in person, And then we went our separate ways, and that was the last I ever heard from him.
And how long after that did he disappear off Twitter?
At least 6 months. He was still on there for a while.
Ah, okay.
But my theory, I know there's a lot of fun ones out there, but I really think somebody, maybe one of the cousins or his wife or somebody, he was talking about all this cousin lust. I think the wife knew he was posting porn on there of themselves. I think the wife knew.
Yeah, the wife's a freak.
She's one of those Latino lovers, bro.
I don't know. I don't know what
They're
they're like.
loyal. They're loyal to a fault, and they're also crazy, protective, jealous. So maybe she found out he was posting about cousin lust or whatever, and he decided the best way is just to wipe everything. That's kind of my theory.
Yeah.
Or
So
maybe one of the
you don't
family
think he's
members, something
dead?
like that. I doubt it.
No
He's doing
death,
pretty
no
well.
prison.
He was making some good money truck driving.
Yeah, it's good. But I don't know. I think it's weird that guys like that love the attention and love kind of trolling with his sexuality
Mm-hmm.
disappears, because then how's he getting the fix?
He's probably got a ghost. Like he knows he can't post anymore, or he'll get found out.
So you think he's still
I think he was
checking it
finding all
out?
the cousins on Facebook. I don't know if he's still got a Facebook because I don't have one, but pretty sure that that's where he was finding all the pictures of the cousins was Facebook.
What'd you think of the cousins?
He's got some good-looking cousins. I mean, you can't take that away.
I can, because they got the thick thighs. That's where I get scared. I can't not look at a woman and think, what's she going to look like in 20 years in those thighs after a few kids? I can't do it.
Yeah, you're always playing a long game.
That's right. You
Maybe
can
that's
do
how
it.
I need to mentally shift myself.
Yeah, you got to look for a life partner, my friend.
Yeah, that's what I'm on the market for right now.
Okay, so to end the show, I would like any single women under 30, or if you know of any women under 30, preferably not a communist,
Under 27.
not a vegan, not a cunt, any woman like that you think.
I can deal with tons most of the time.
I'm laying the parameters here, Honga, not you.
All right, I'll be quiet.
Yeah, so anyone like that, she must have long hair, straight hair, in no way fat or prone to fat, perhaps a love of exercise. Does she need to cook?
I'm a pretty good cook, but I mean, it's appreciated.
Yeah, you don't want her to be lazy, though. Yeah, it's a worry. All right, well, you got an idea.
If I'm not going to be pulling in the income, then
Please
maybe she can take care of the house and all that stuff.
Submit your potential mates on Twitter to Caucasian Honga, and we'll see how we go.
Sounds like a plan.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. You've been a great guest.
Thanks for having me. And tell your producer, just cut out the last 60 minutes, maybe 70, and they'll have a good show.
Done. All right. Thanks, mate.
Have a good one, Snake.
Bye.
Bye.
One time I hit a deer on the Garden State Parkway, and the next day I was shitting blood.